And now, TSPN is proud to present Art and Culture with Kathleen Ball on TSPN.
Okay, hello everyone. I'm Kathleen Ball. This is Art and Culture, and we're going to continue today with where we left off last month. We started off with the bas relief. So the first thing we'll do, we're going to show you where we're at. I have completed the bas relief, and it has been what we call bisque fired. So bisque fired means that it's gone through the initial firing, the first firing. And what we're going to do today on the show, the first 12 minutes of our show today, is we're going to glaze this. And the glazing is very similar to painting. As you can see, we have several different glazes. And we're going to be using the traditional colors of the Egyptian glazes, obviously not the same ones that they use because we can't get those anymore. But I brought in an example of some of the colors that they used to use. They're very vibrant. And this particular glaze was called a faience glaze. And they have never been able to find the recipe to recreate this exactly again. So we have a turquoise that is very similar, and we're going to recreate it with that. We also have these lovely browns and some off-whites. And these are what we're going to be using in this bas relief today. So we're going to start off with the turquoise glaze. And I wanted to also remind you that these glazes you can be bought in the same places as the supply places that we gave you last month. Now, IMCO is the company in Sacramento, and the supplier is on the screen for you. And they have all these glazes. You can get all the glazes that I'm using today. You can get the clay bodies, and you can also get the tools. So we're going to go ahead without further ado and start with some of these turquoise areas that we're going to duplicate the faience. So we're going to get our bird. Now, again, this is a Bennu bird, and this was a very significant bird for the Egyptian people many, many thousands and thousands of years ago. And we also have over here on the left-hand side, we have a priestess who we may have found 5,000-6,000 years ago in the temples. And one of the things that the priestesses were responsible for was to keep balance, environmental balance, and also balance and harmony amongst the Egyptian people. And we talked a little bit about this last month. Now, what they believed was that through frequency and through just harmony, keeping harmony within their own beings, and using frequency and special technologies, sacred geometry, that they could maintain a sense of harmony within their people. And these are the kind of things that are being rediscovered today. And that is one of the things we're going to talk about with our guest speaker, who will be introducing a little bit later on in the show. And we're going to talk about past, present, and future in Egypt, which is the name of this bas relief, and how these technologies have been rediscovered and will be put into use for, and are being put into use. They actually have been put into use, and they are being utilized by many, many, many people throughout the United States and in several countries in Europe and Egypt. And there's been many, many research studies to back these up. So we're living in very exciting times. And, all over the world, we're rediscovering now that these ancient sites, such as Egypt, and many of the other ones that we have rediscovered, that we're rediscovering, have tremendous technology and are divulging their secrets to us so that we are rediscovering them all over the world today. So I'm going to let you take a look at where we're at with this bird now. Now, when you apply a glaze, it doesn't necessarily look like the color that it's going to be when you first apply it. Typically, this is true with many of the glazes. Although this looks sort of a pale blue, it's actually going to be very vibrant purple or very vibrant turquoise when we get it done. So when we bring this back next month on the show, you'll actually get to see what we're talking about here. So we're just about done with our Bennu bird. And we're going to move into working on our priestess and our pyramids. And if you'll notice, also with our priestess, she's holding a Djed pillar, which is something that was very sacred to the Egyptian people. They actually had a ceremony in the mornings. Many of the pharaohs and their wives and the priests and the priestesses. And this Djed pillar was eventually incorporated into the headpiece that we see on many of the bas-reliefs throughout Egypt. And what this signified was the resurrection of Osiris. And what they believed is that there would be a time in the future where these technologies would be rediscovered. And so you find them all over throughout Egypt. They're all over, these Djed pillars. They're all over. And they're amazing because they actually look, if you can see, they actually look like some sort of electrical device. They actually have that sort of look to them, like a transmitter or receiver of some sort. And they're fascinating. They're absolutely fascinating. When I was in Egypt, I counted them. They were all over. They were on many. They're in Luxor. I found them in, all over. Many of the sites throughout Egypt. So it was fascinating to me. And I found many things that were unexplainable when I was in Egypt, that the guides and that people just don't know anything about anymore. So it's fun, it's just been really exciting and really fun for the Egyptian people and, those who are aware and who are interested in rediscovering these wonderful, wonderful technologies and bringing them to life again, literally bringing them to life, which is very similar to the idea of, rebirthing Osiris. So we're now going to move into a different color, work on our pyramids here. And we'll do those in sort of a burnt orange. And then we're going to coat that over with a subtler color. But we want those to stand out. And the pyramids that you see here on this bas-relief are actually pyramids. They're actually recreations of the pyramids on the Giza Plateau. And the reason that we've used these, that I have used these, is because they were the first pyramids to be discovered to have been created using sacred geometry. And this is very important because since that time, many throughout the world, all over the world, the sacred sites and temples and whatnot have been, it has been discovered that they also adhere to the principles of sacred geometry. But the pyramids at the Giza Plateau were the first ones to actually, it was discovered that they apply to the rules and laws of sacred geometry. So they're significant, and that is specifically why I chose them in this particular bas-relief. now we're going to get some of the background completed. Now, bas-relief, is a really easy way to learn how to sculpt and to, to narrate. It actually can narrate a story. They were used to narrate stories in ancient Egypt. They were used to talk about the culture and religious beliefs. And they are also used, we've also found that they are significant in telling us what was going on with the Egyptian people during that time. They were a powerful tool, and they have been a powerful tool throughout history. They've been used over and over and over. We see that the bas-relief format that has been recreated. So when we come back, we have some messages from our sponsors here, and when we come back, we will be bringing Jerry Jin. We're very excited to have him today. So in just a few moments, we'll see Jerry Jin. You'll get to meet Jerry Jin, and we are going to discuss some of these technologies with you.
You're watching Amador County's local television network, TSPN.
Okay. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We have a wonderful special guest, Jerry Jin, who's joined us this evening. And we're going to continue our discussion about ancient Egypt, and we're going to talk specifically about the technology that has been brought into our present time, and that we're hoping, at some point that it will be, brought out throughout the world, and that we'll, let people know about this technology. So, Jerry, I want to go ahead and talk a little bit about, I want to introduce this book first. This is what brought Jerry and I together. Back to the Future for Mankind, Biogeometry, and it's by Dr. Ibrahim Karim. And he is a man who has rediscovered, along with his father, rediscovered this technology from the ancients based on concepts of biogeometry, what he refers to as biogeometry, and Jerry is going to talk about this and tell us and explain to us just how these things work. And, what is the history a little bit? He knows Dr. Karim and has worked with Dr. Karim. And so I'm going to go ahead and let you discuss it. I'm excited to have everyone hear about this.
Well, I'm very happy to be here to talk about Dr. Karim's work. He's done some amazing things, and he's, as his book says, Back to the Future for Mankind.
Yes.
He's rediscovered things that were known a long time ago, and the energies that are there, yes, and the energies that will bring health. And it's a phenomenal work that he has actually done. Biogeometry is basically a study of energies and shapes and all the other things that will affect energy. Right. And energy is all around us, but when we talk here about energies, we're talking about a type of energy that the pyramids, for example, have in energy. Mm-hmm. And people have known about energies with regard to the pyramids for a long period of time. People have talked about sharpening razors with pyramid shapes and things of that nature.
And they were specifically designed the way they are designed, and they have specifically been duplicated for the purpose of their effect on the environment.
Yes.
Yes.
Very, very true.
Mm-hmm.
But let me talk a little bit about the physics behind the energies, because in order to understand the monumental work that Dr. Karim did, it's good to understand what he was doing and what he discovered or rediscovered. Because the ancients really knew about health and how energies work and the way pyramids work and the way other shapes work.
Right, they were very, very interested in harmony and balance, as we've talked about before. We did introduce last week. They were interested in maintaining a balance with the planet and with everything.
That is true. Well, what are we? We are really detectors of qualities of energy.
Right.
We see something, we see the purple in his book. What are we looking at? When we see the browns or blacks, what are we looking at? We see color.
Right.
That's a quality. But on the electromagnetic scale, these are wavelengths.
Correct. Correct.
And when we hear a sound, what do we hear? It's compression waves. We interpret that as sound. And we have shape and angles and numbers of items. All these things we interpret. But all these things have an effect on us because of something called resonance.
Right.
And this is something that Dr. Cream rediscovered. And what he did was very interesting. He looked at all the sacred sites, whether it be in Egypt, in Europe, or in Switzerland, where he studied architecture. And he discovered that there are certain energies, and he found a way to detect these energies, and they came from the French school of science called radiesthesia. And in that school, they learned how to detect certain energies, but they hadn't come to the conclusion of the energies that Dr. Green eventually came to.
Right.
They had discovered certain energies.
They had only come just so far. So
They-
it took Dr. Kareem's input to put it all together.
It did.
Right.
It did. What they did was the French discovered types of energies that we know energies. We have the normal spectrum of colors, green, reds, etc. And in using the detection methods that Dr. Green was using from the radiesthesia group, he found that certain colors or wavelengths or energy can transmit through anything.
Exactly.
And if you have a sphere, and if the sunlight is shining on the sphere, at the very top of the sphere, if you detect the energies of it, you have what's called positive green.
Right.
At the other end of it was a negative green. And the French had discovered that the negative green can penetrate almost any object, basically.
Right.
And some of these energies were very, very healthy, and some were not so healthy.
And what would be examples of some that were healthy and some that were not healthy?
Okay. In the negative green portion of it, well, energy has, just like electromagnetic waves, there's a vertical aspect to it and a horizontal aspect to it. If you look at an electromagnetic wave, for example, the vertical is the electrical and the horizontal is magnetic.
Magnetic, correct.
And what was discovered was that some of the vertical energies were very harmful. And one of the key researchers in this area learned how to build up the energies and Chamery. And one day his partner, de Blazil, discovered that he had died and basically was mummified because of the energies.
Right.
So there's negative things and positive things, and even with the pyramids, there's negative things and positive things. But the Egyptians understood that and understood what to do to make them positive. And Dr. Green rediscovered those energies, plus several other energies that were very beneficial for health and for mankind. And these energies, he eventually called them and created this whole system called biogeometry.
Biogeometry, which is what he talks about in his book. And this is a completely new way of experiencing energy from anything that we have typically understood.
Definitely.
So it's groundbreaking. I mean, this is absolutely groundbreaking, state-of-the-art information that is just beyond belief. And we have examples in Switzerland. Am I correct in
Yes.
my understanding that they have placed these cubes that he's designed throughout Switzerland, and they actually improve the environment for these people living in this town.
Yes.
There were people that had illnesses that were relieved, and many other things that were relieved.
That's a very important story.
Yes, very
The
important.
very important story is that there was a Swiss company that had they decided to put in the radio towers or wireless towers, and they put it into the city called Hamburg,
Correct.
and they put it
yes.
into the very top of the city, which was the church.
Right.
And what happened was that as soon as the tower was put up, or the transmitter was put up, and we have transmitters, I live in
Everywhere. We have cell phone towers. We have, we're surrounded by
completely surrounded.
by energy towers.
But this energy was making the people in the town sick. Cows were not giving birth. People were irritable.
Right.
Lots of things were happening. And the Swiss are very proactive folks. And they said that, well, something is wrong, and the government's got to do something about this.
Right.
And they had heard about Dr. Kareem, and Dr. Kareem said, okay, let's see if I can correct the whole city.
Right.
And
Which was a monumental task.
yes.
For in our day, this would be considered a monumental task, and
So
he did it.
He did it, and he did it. He came into the city, and because he understood the nature of the energies and what the beneficial energies were,
15 minutes.
okay, he understood what to do. And I'll go through and tell the rest of the story.
Right, and what happened, the result of this, of placing these cubes in specific locations, and that had a lot to do with the sacred geometry,
Yeah.
was that we had, they had tremendous turnarounds in health. It improved the entire environment in this town. The entire environment was completely transformed as a result. And the tower still remains. And this is the important thing I think we need to talk about. The tower still remains. What happened is the tower was neutralized, literally.
Yes, that is. He had some other emitters that he used, and he understood how numbers of units and certain types of structures would neutralize or bring in the good energies.
Right.
So he used that at the towers. And then in the homes, he did something else that was very, very exciting. He created some cubes.
Right.
And the cubes, it's what's on the cubes that is really the crux of it.
Right.
And having these cubes with what would be called biosignatures or certain designs on it had amazing effects with regard to the health.
Right.
So the combination of being able to neutralize the energies or to bring in the what he calls BG3 energies.
Right.
And these are harmonics of several types of energies. We talked about the negative green.
Right.
And there's a harmonic, and harmonics are, and I should talk a little bit more about that.
Right.
Would be...
Okay, well, I hate to interrupt you,
Okay.
but we're going to discuss this some more after our break. We'll be right back. Okay?
You're watching Amador County's local television network, TSPN.
Welcome back, folks. We've got a wonderful discussion going here with Jerry Jin. I'm so pleased to have you. And we were talking about this town in Switzerland that has actually been transformed by the research from Dr. Kareem. And we were just starting to discuss a little bit about these cubes, which I want to just quickly mention that these cubes here are what the forms are in this bas-relief. They're what signifies future and present. So we have our past, and present and future. These forms are symbolic of the cubes that Jerry Jin is going to talk about a little bit more today. So go ahead and we'll continue with the biosignature that we were discussing
Right.
and these cubes and the effect that they have in the home.
Well, the cubes are really amazing. That's
Yes.
one aspect of Dr. Kareem's technology. It's the biosignatures on the cubes that will bring in the energies, and these are the BG3 energies that promote health. And it turns out that there's a lot of electrosmog that goes on, and as we progress with Wi-Fi and all the technology that's coming, is stronger and bigger, and more signals will be coming.
Right.
People are sensitive to these things, and our bodies have to communicate. The cells in our bodies have to be communicating, and as the signals, there's going to be a tipping point with regard to these signals. For a lot of people who are sensitive, the tipping point is already there.
Right.
For the rest of us, the tipping point will be coming. And again, we don't know the long-term effect of the electrosmog that is there.
Right.
And we have cell phones, smartphones, we have Wi-Fi in our homes, all these things. And
Which are wonderful assets for communication.
They're important.
However,
it's not going to go away.
we need to be able to learn to neutralize.
We need to understand what to do to bring in the good energies and to be able to neutralize the negative energies.
Exactly.
And that's what the purpose of the cubes are. And it has the ability to do that. And Dr. Kareem's done some marvelous studies with regard to this. He's basically have neutralized the effects in 2 different towns. The cubes are available in many, many places now, and I belong to a group called Foundation for Mind Being Research. And
yes, I know. We want to talk. I want to hear you talk a little bit more about this too, and how we can contact you. For those who are interested, our viewers who are interested, because I know that there's people that are going to want to get a hold of you and find out more about this technology for the use in their own homes and in their own lives. So.
Yeah. Well, it was marvelous technology. And the biosignatures are useful not just for electrosmog. Electrosmog is a big problem. And if that's all we did, I think that's marvelous if we can. And there are ways to handle it. There's ways to do things on smartphones. If the manufacturers truly understood what to do, we understand what to do. We can tell the manufacturers of smartphones and Wi-Fi devices what to do to neutralize the electrosmog that's coming from their devices.
Right.
Because we're not saying don't do it.
Right, exactly. And that's the beauty of this technology. We're not saying don't move forward with technology. We're just saying let's do it smart in an intelligent way.
Sick, and some people are getting sick. We have smart meters, etc. That's out there. There are ways to do this now.
Exactly.
And this technology allows all that to happen. That's the reason that I'm so excited with regard to the
exactly,
technology.
And it is just amazing. It's so exciting to me. In fact, I've already ordered one of these pendants for my own, because I happen to be one of those people that's very sensitive to energy, very, very sensitive to energy, and sent it back to Dr. Kareem to have it specifically the bio signatures to be specifically imprinted for me, specifically for things that I deal with physically. And I haven't gotten it back yet, but hopefully by next month's show we'll have it back. And what I'd love you to do is tell the folks at home where they can contact a phone number that they can get a hold of you, some information so that they could actually do this themselves.
Be happy to do so. Before doing that, just on the biosignatures, it's not just for electrosmog. You were talking about problems, physical problems,
health issues.
And what Dr. Kareem discovered was that in working with the energies, there's resonance. That's the reason I brought up the subject of energies in the beginning. It's the resonance of structures with the body.
Yes.
And if the energies are being brought in by the shapes and it's in resonance with the body, it promotes health. And so there's biosignatures, colors, shapes, where things are placed in a room. All these things have an effect.
Yes.
But yes, I do belong to a group called the Foundation for Mind Being Research, and I'll soon be called Institute for the Advancement of Science and Consciousness. And we study things such as what Dr. Kareem has done, and what we'll be doing, well, basically in terms of anyone want to get hold of myself, they can contact me at jerry@fmbr.org.
fmbr.org. Okay, Jerry at fmbr.org.
Right,
Okay.
and we have the devices and things of that nature.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, FMBR also is into the whole areas of consciousness and the science surrounding all of that. And there's a lot of science that
Yes.
people aren't aware of.
Yep.
Biogeometry is a primary example of the science that is there that have been rediscovered, and there are other things that have been rediscovered. And I can go on for hours on all the things
Yes.
that are out there.
Yeah, and it was very interesting because when we first met you, we had scheduled an hour meeting, and it turned into 3 because it was such a fascinating conversation, and we were just I learned so much from talking with you about your background is just tremendous. If you could just share with the viewers a little bit about your
Okay,
background, I
sure.
think
Would
the
be happy.
fascinating history of where you began and how you ended up getting involved in this technology.
Okay, definitely. I'm a scientist, a PhD from Berkeley. I'm a biochemist,
Yeah.
basically. And I've done research, and I've been an entrepreneur in the healthcare area most of my life. And
You hold 30 patents, is that correct?
at least 30 patents at this
Yeah.
point. Still continues to grow. And basically, I'm an inventor, and along with others typically, and we invent technologies
Right.
and technologies for health. It could be in the pharmaceutical side, it could be in the diagnostic side. Diagnostics created the first, our group and our company that I founded created the first home cholesterol test that you see in the drugstores. Another partner and I created an implant for the inside of the eye that takes care of macular edema, and it releases drug inside the eye for a month, as another example. And currently we have, I have 2 companies. One that creates a lozenge that lasts actually an hour in your mouth.
It actually lasts longer than that.
Yeah, it does.
This is something that I've actually tried myself, and it actually, I've had one in my mouth for up to 6 and 7 hours, that it just stays with you. It stays
It
with you, and it
does.
gives you, a fresh taste in your mouth, and it actually, I had some health issues many years ago and had difficulty salivating, so this is something that, has been a great asset for me personally. I've really enjoyed it, so.
Well, that's Salice. And Salice is a product from my company Nuvora, and that's for dry mouth.
Right,
and
right.
We have other lozenges for breath and other lozenges for health of the teeth.
Right.
And they're all made with basically natural ingredients.
Yeah, everything, and that's the beauty of it. There's nothing in it that is harmful.
Well,
So
we invented, my partner and I invented that technology.
Right.
And then I have another company that's created a whole brand new technology in terms of metal modulation, and we've come up with a tooth gel that, in fact, it's toothpaste basically, but
Right.
no detergents,
right,
no abrasives.
no aluminum, no other things.
No surfactants, but it cleans teeth better than anything else out there.
And I'm dying to try this. This is
Yeah,
the next little venture that I'm going to be trying.
I'll
so.
get you some, and that company's called Livionics, and Livionics has, and because it cleans teeth so well, gingivitis goes away within days, basically, just simply because we do such a good job of cleaning teeth.
So how did you get connected with
All
Dr.
this.
Kareem?
Okay, well, FMBR, Foundation for Mind Being Research, I'm interested in understanding the nature of what everything is.
Right.
What is matter, what is energy, etc. And that's the reason I went into science and into nucleic acid chemistry and DNA and all that type of stuff.
Right. Many of the same studies that I've studied, but not, necessarily in the education arena, just for my own purpose.
Yeah.
But you've studied them.
And I found that
university.
FMBR allowed me a chance to start dealing and working with the leaders in the world with regard to the science of consciousness. And eventually, when I got into this, it comes back to consciousness as an energy, as a basis of everything.
Okay.
And that's what FMBR is all about, and the understanding of this whole arena.
Right.
And we're fortunate enough to bring Dr. Kareem from Egypt to give a talk.
Yes.
And we give talks the fourth Friday of every month with regard to all sorts of subject matters that are absolutely fascinating, from science
This
to
is
healing.
cutting-edge science, folks. This is just cutting-edge information that they offer at FMBR, and it's in the Bay Area. And we'll during the last segment we'll actually talk again and give the people the information, phone numbers and locations, and also, of course, if you contact me through the information that we've given you, my website and my home phone number, and of course. The email, you can also get the information. So we'll be back in just a few moments, and thanks to our wonderful guest, we're going to be continuing the show in just a few minutes.
You're watching Amador County's local television network, TSPN.
Okay, folks, welcome back, and we're going to continue our discussion, this wonderful discussion with Jerry Jen. And we were talking about biosignatures, and we were talking about the effects that they had on the body. We were talking about FMBR and how you became associated and affiliated with Dr. Kareem.
Okay.
So,
I'm the chairman of FMBR, and that's and therefore I get a chance to interact with the key speakers. And so we invited Dr. Kareem. We knew about his work. We had some other speakers in the past that had talked about his work, and we're so fortunate to have him over from Egypt.
yes.
And we learned a lot more. And he and some of his instructors have given special courses in biogeometry
Yes.
to us. And in terms of biosignatures, one thing that Dr. Kareem did is in the area of hepatitis.
Yes, he did. This is a study that's absolutely fascinating. Over in Egypt, he conducted a study, and it had significant results on people suffering from Hep C. So
It was an amazing study. I think that the professional people probably didn't really believe that it could really be done. And okay, let's disprove it. And they're studying all the best medications for hepatitis C. And so they said, okay, let's have Dr. Kareem, because they had now learned about some of the things that he was able to do.
Right.
Okay, go ahead and do something and use your biosignatures. And he did.
Yes.
And he designed biosignatures that were good for hepatitis and therefore good for the liver.
Right.
And he had a 90% success rate.
Exactly. And 90%, folks, this is absolutely astronomical. I mean, with the medications that we have today in the U.S., that we're, typically if you go in with hepatitis C, you're told right off the bat, you have 25 to 50% success possibility with the medications. And this is absolutely amazing, 90%. I mean, it's a big deal.
Yeah, and you're right. The rest of the study was around 20% or thereabouts, but his is 90%.
Well, exactly.
And that is out in the news, and that's sort of really amazing. And he did some other things.
And these are documented. These are all documented, and they're actually on the website, and we'll bring that information to you.
Well, his technology had applications even beyond that in terms of health, and he could work on various types of diseases. And we're going to do a research project, probably on Lyme's, with regard to that area. But in the areas of agriculture and animal husbandry, he's done some amazing things there also.
Yes.
In terms of, for example, we rely on pesticides and antibiotics all the time with regard to our animals. And he decided to, in terms of where the animals were being kept, and this is chicken as an example, he used color. And color is an energy. Don't forget that. Shapes, numbers, angles, all these things are things that the body resonates with. So if it's
So
giving off energies.
this is also related to feng shui in a sense. It's like one step beyond. It's going deeper into the idea of feng shui, which is, it's been around. If anyone is familiar with architectural design or interior design, feng shui is useful and it's very real. It's a very real way to approach designing your home and placing objects and colors and things that, they have effects on your body, on your being.
Definitely.
And so it would be understandable that, of course, they would have effects on the animals. That we
I think feng shui is very, very good. It's an intuitive thing, and practitioners understand that intuition, so that's very good.
Right.
And what Dr. Karim has done is to be able to use instruments and use shapes and colors and other things in a home to balance a home. But it's more than balance. It's bringing in the BG3 energies.
Yes.
And these are BG3s, the negative green, but the good negative green versus the one that caused the death of this one person who was a pioneer.
Right.
So there's vertical and horizontal, and so the horizontal is a very good energy. It's very beneficial, and how to bring that energy in with other harmonics of some other energy colors. Harmonics means that if you pluck a string here on a guitar and you have another guitar that's of a different octave, that will resonate ad infinitum.
Right.
So you're doing the same thing. And we talk about harmonics. So you can use harmonics to basically, whether it be color or angles or whatever it is, they're all energies, basically, and they all have an effect on the body. So that's what Dr. Karim did. And with regard to the chickens, he said, no, these chickens will not have any antibiotics at all.
Right.
And those chickens, because he had the beneficial energies there, grew much bigger without the ill effects.
Exactly.
And he did the same thing with regard to agriculture. Instead of using pesticides with regard to agriculture, he used some angles and some. There are certain angles that you can put in front of, say, an orchard. You did some apple trees.
And this is so reminiscent of what was happening in Egypt. This is so reminiscent because this is what I studied when I studied the ancient symbols and the symbolism and the design of the buildings. They were specifically designed for these purposes to bring about a sense of perpetual harmony and good health.
Definitely.
And this was something that was very important to our ancient people. And I think, we're rediscovering this today. And it's just a fabulous time to be alive right now.
It really is.
Because we have these wonderful technologies that are being rediscovered all over, like you said, all over the world, in Japan and in Egypt. And I just received an email today from a friend in Turkey, from Istanbul, who, has told me that they have rediscovered a 12,000-year-old site in Göbekli Tepe. So we're going to find some more stuff there. But all these things are contributing to our life now. And they're just fabulous. They're fabulous, and I'm just so encouraged by people like you and Dr. Karim who are bringing these things and doing something with them.
Well, it's exciting times because we can do things and we can make technology is good, but can bring some ill effects, and electro smog is such an example. But we can do something about it.
Yes.
And so the manufacturers will have to awaken to that.
Yes.
If they truly understood the studies that Dr. Karim has done, then all that will change. We have ways to make Wi-Fi not as harmful.
Exactly.
And the level of energy from that is going up. We have technology to make smartphones not as harmful.
Exactly. So,
and all those things are there, and we have technologies for health.
Right.
And for even, he grew some potatoes, sweet potatoes, using salt water, with water that's been treated with these energies, and it grew.
Right.
And it grew very well.
It was amazing. That was amazing to me. I read his book, which was, this is Dr. Karim's book. I'll show the viewers another, again. And the title is Back to the Future for Mankind, Biogeometry by Dr. Ibrahim Karim. And you can get this online. You can Google it and get it online through Amazon.com. There's several sources to get this book. But he discusses in the book everything that Jerry and I are talking about today. So, and I understand that Dr. Kareem now is residing primarily in Montreal, and he is conducting some of these studies and research in Montreal as well.
Yes, well, it's wherever his mind is at is where the research can be done.
Right,
And,
right.
He's got an amazing mind, and we'll probably be doing some research with him also, because I think that there's some health issues that one can look at that are very difficult to treat today.
Yes.
And if he can do this with hepatitis, he can do this with other types of diseases. And he teaches the fundamentals with regard to the biosignatures. So in understanding the physics, the quality of physics of biogeometry is a very important aspect of the world today. And it's going to bring in, I think, a lot of health and take care of a lot of problems, basically.
Right, exactly. So, our bas-relief started off with, past, present, and future in Egypt, and we look what's come about as a result of this. It started with a trip to Egypt, and the next thing we know, I actually was connected to you through Dr. Kareem, through a friend in Egypt. So, this all tied together, but it's about getting out there, being open to the technologies, open to the world, open to what's out there and what's available. And the next thing you know, your whole life is transformed with information that is helpful to the whole world. And it's just a wonderful thing to be a part of it. I'm excited to be a part of it. I'm excited to have you on the show and know that you're a big part of this. And, and hopefully in the next few months we'll have Dr. Kareem come, and he's going to be talking more about this personally. So, it's a wonderful, exciting time. It's just wonderful to be a part of this. And I'd like you to talk a little bit about FMBR quickly. We have a few minutes.
Okay.
So,
well, FMBR, Foundation for Mind-Being Research.
A phone number and an email would be great, too.
Well, in terms of the email is probably the best way. We have a website, www.fmbr.org. And if anyone wants to get hold of me, it's just jerry@fmbr.org.
Okay.
And we meet basically the fourth Friday with regard to lectures, and that's in Palo Alto. It's at the Unity Church, and we occupy the Yes Hall in Palo Alto. And so that's that. And if anyone wants our dental gel, it's Livionics Dental. And if anyone wants our Solis lozenges.
Okay, well,
Laura.
we'll have you back on again. We're going to have you back on again. This is fabulous.
Okay.
So that's all for today, folks, and we'll see you next month. And, bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thanks for watching Art and Culture with Kathleen Ball on TSPN.